right, folks, so for this video, I am just going to show you how to add a roof to this house here, and then I'm going to show again at the end of this video how to put that onto a sheet and print it out, or well, print it as a PDF. So specifically, I'm going to show you how to put the elevations onto that. Right now, our elevations are here. I'm not going to go to them. I'm just going to show you how to put the roof on and then how to put them onto the sheet after that. So let's start off. We've got this floor plan here, which you're going to have available to you already. To put a roof onto this, it is very simple. We're going to go in the Architecture tab, which I'm already in the Build panel. I'm going to click on this roof button here. We don't have to pick any of the options. The first option is just fine. This is going to let us outline the roof that we want to, that we're going to put, like they call it the footprint of it, like the outline of it. And it's going to automatically define some of the slopes for us, and you'll see that as I go through. So once I click on that roof button, it says, hey, you're going to create this roof on the lowest level. Do you want to move it? Yeah. We are not creating the roof like on the ground. We're creating it on level 2, and it offers for us to do that already. So I'm just going to say, yes, I want to move to that. And you're going to notice over here, we're going to jump. It should have jumped to level 2. That's where it's actually creating the roof. And that's where we'll be able to see the roof, but I guess it's not highlighting for us. That's okay. So I'm going to leave this setting the same for now, and I'll explain that in a moment, but I'm going to change the overhang to a nice 2-foot overhang. I'm going to hit enter here. Oh, I guess I don't have to hit enter actually. I just type the number in and move on. And you'll see now when I hover over these edges, it's going to put a dotted line that acts as the overhang for me. And what I'm going to do first is draw the edges that define the slope of the roof, meaning these are the edges that the roof is actually sloping towards. So I'm going to do this one, and you'll see how the shape of this roof turns out in a minute. I'm going to do this one over here, and I got to make sure that I have the overhang go on the correct side. See, like right now I want it on the outside. I don't want it on the inside. So I want it on the outside. I'll click there, and it's going to actually trim these edges real nice for you. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a roof that slopes down towards this edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge. So it's basically going to create a ridge line along the middle of the roof, which is going to give us a gable on these two sides over here. So it's like this L-shaped house. So to create those end gables, we have to put the roofs up here, but we have to turn off our slope defining first, because these are going to actually be the parts of the roof that come up and then have a ridge and then go down in the middle. So now that I've turned off define slope, because these are sloping lines, but they don't actually define the slope, I'm going to click on the end here and here. And then I'm going to just click the finish edit mode, this green check mark here. And let's see what happens. So it looks immediately like nothing changed, but that's because we created the roof on level 2. So if I go over here to level 2 by double clicking on it, immediately we can see the roof here. It's being sliced a little bit. So what I really want to do now is I want to actually open up the 3D view of this. If you have it already, you can go over here in the sidebar and double click on the 3D view here, which you should have. If somehow you don't have it, you can go to view, and then in the create panel, you can click create 3D view. And we can see how this created if I switch to my top view here. This was the slope defining edge. This was another slope defining edge, this one, and then we had those non-slope defining edges here on the side. I can rotate this around by dragging the pieces of this view cube here. I can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. I can pan the screen around by clicking and dragging the middle mouse button. And if I hold shift on the keyboard and I right click and drag, it's going to pivot or orbit the view. Something else that we immediately see here is that our wall is not going up to the roof. So we want to fix that. We can easily do that by picking the wall. And then in our modify wall panel up here, we can click attach top/base. And this starts asking down here in the corner, hey, select the roofs, floors, ceilings, or panels that these walls to which the section is going to go up to. It's chopped off. But I'm going to pick the roof. Okay. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to hold shift and right click drag to pivot around. And I don't think I can do it 2 at a time. Oh, I guess I can pick a new wall. There we go. Attach top base, pick the roof, and there we go. And it's just going to attach those two. And now if I deselect, we're going to see, there we go. We've got our overhang all around. So our roof is on there. There's no floor, but we're going to do that another time. And there is our finished object, okay? So the last step here, though, of course, is to create a drawing. Nothing is good without a drawing. We've got these elevations here. You can't take this out on a job site, so we need to be able to create these drawings. We've got these elevations here. We're going to place these into a sheet. If I just go to one of these to take a look at it, like let's look at the, what is this, the south direction. I'm going to look at the house like I'm looking at the front door. I'm going to double click south and a new tab opens up here. And there is our elevation. I can't rotate this. I can only pan it around. I could look at the north elevation. Those are the two that we'll add to the sheet. So that's as if we're looking down, if I come back to this 3D view, as if we're standing back over here and we're looking in the direction that I'm moving my mouse right now towards sort of the bottom of this computer screen. So these are the two views that we're going to add. You got to be sensitive to these tabs up here because they're going to be kind of, you know, how you can switch between these different views once they're open, or you can close them on up. So I'm going to actually close those two views. I don't need them right now. I'm going to now create a brand new sheet. So this is a review. This was in the floor plan video, but I'm going to show it again here. To create a new sheet, I'm going to right click on sheets and I'm going to say new sheet. This is all over here in the project browser. If you're stuck on how to open that, if you've closed the project browser, please ask for help. That is not going to be in this video. So we see I have this giant sheet of paper here, 30 by 42 inches. That's way too big. I'm going to load a new one. If you're in here and you don't see anything that looks like a sheet, you may have to go up a level. So I'll go up a level. Now I'm in the casework folder. I'm going to go up another level until I get to US Imperial. And then way down at the bottom, I'm going to find the title blocks folder. In here, we've got our nice A sheet of paper. This is 8.5 by 11. This is a vertical sheet. I'm going to double click that to bring it on in there. And I'm going to hit OK. And this is going to give us our nice vertical oriented sheet here that we want to work in. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my south view, so I'll double click that again since I closed it to kind of reopen it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this down because watch this. If I bring it in like this right now, if I drag this and drop it, it's going to be huge. So it's going to like go out the sides of the page. So that's not what I want. So I'm going to hit escape. So in this view, I'm going to go over here with nothing selected. I've got nothing selected. I'm going to scroll down to extents. I'm going to turn on these first two checkboxes. I want to crop the view and I want to show the crop region that I'm using to crop. Now we can see the edges, and this is that big edge that was popping out the sides when I tried to bring it into the drawing. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to shrink this way down till it's almost chopping off the sides of the house. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to we can turn this off. You can leave it on, but if you turn off crop region visible, that box goes away. Now watch this. If I go back to my sheet and I drag and drop the south elevation in here, it's a lot smaller. Now look at this. It's still going outside of the box, but we're going to fix that. So I'm going to stamp this down right here towards the bottom of my sheet. That looks good. Things are running into the border a little bit. What I can do is if I double click in the viewport, if you saw, I'm going to double click outside it to close it. When I hover, it says viewport. If I'm going to double click on that, it's going to start letting me edit that. And what I can do, I don't want to drag these up or down. You have to be super careful, but they have little tiny blue handles here on the end, these little blue dots. I'm going to drag these level markers in a little bit. So there's one on this side. It's very tiny. It's right here. It says modify this level by dragging it. I'm just dragging it left or right. And let's try to get it so that word isn't hitting the building. There, that looks pretty good. And now if I double click over here, like outside that box, you'll see all those boxes go away. Now everything fits nicely on my page. And I'm going to demo this again when I bring in the north elevation. The other thing is we've got our little, our title block handle here. Kind of hanging off the side. This is called the shape handle. This is like the label. I can actually drag this around, and let's put it a little closer. And if you want to change the size of this, to do that, you have to click once on the viewport to select it. Then you're allowed to modify it. If you try to drag it before clicking once to select that, like let's just say I hover and I try to drag this, it's just going to move the whole thing. So you have to click once on the view part, not twice, just once, and then you can actually move this handle around. Okay, so I'm just going to demo this all again real quick to bring in the north view. So again, you'll see if we just bring in the north view as it is, it's going to be way too big. Boom, too big. So I'm going to hit escape. Let's double click to open the north view again. Okay, so again, I'm going to crop this. So I'll turn on crop view, crop region, and I'm going to click that box to select it and then drag it by that blue handle. It's always a little blue circle is the handles that help us change the size of things. So bring that down, turn off the crop region so it's not this big ugly box getting in the way. I'll come back to my sheet, which is up here. It's called A101. You could see that down here. That's the name of it. I'll come back to that tab. And again, I'll put my north view. This makes sense. Put the north view above the south view. I'll try to center it as best I can. I can always adjust this a little bit with the arrows. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to edit all those pieces that I edited before. So if I double click this, it's going to take me into it. And you'll notice this view gets gray. I'm double clicking right there. We go. This view gets gray to show that I'm only editing this. I can drag by the little blue handles. I can make this a little smaller so it fits better on the page. Let's bring these ones in. Boom. And you notice those two, they're stuck together. They drag together, which is kind of nice. I double clicked outside of the box to leave it. Let's put this in a little bit of a better position. And then if I click once on the viewport, that handle pops up again and I can drag this in. And if you notice, it snaps actually to the other one. So it's like tidy and neat. And now everything looks nice and clean. So I can even select both of these if I need to position them a little differently on the page. I can nudge them with the arrow keys to get them just right where I want them to be. And that looks pretty dang good. That is a nice south and north elevation. And then, of course, I'll just update all this info down here. So Osgood, yada, yada, yada. You can go through and name all this stuff. The last thing I'll show is, of course, how to print this, as mentioned before, so you get to see this a second time. To print this out, we're just going to go to File, Print. In here, we have to make sure the name of the printer we select is Microsoft Print to PDF. These other printers won't work. It's going to spit it out in the room for me. So Print to PDF. We're going to actually just go right to Setup here. In here, you want to make sure your paper size is letter. Your orientation is portrait so that it actually looks like the sheet looks like. Paper placement should stay at center. It'll probably be that way by default. But it's really important that you set your zoom to 100%. This makes it so it's actual size and it doesn't stretch the view up or down to change anything. Once that's all good, I'm going to say OK. If it gives you any sort of pop-up there, you can just say OK if it asks you to save the settings. And then you can say OK. I like to click Preview. That's going to show us, OK, that looks good. Now you can hit Print. And it'll take you back to that box. You say OK. And now it gives you the option to save this. So let's just call it, this will be Revit Exercise 2 to video demo. I'm just calling it video demo because that's what this is. You can call it whatever you need. Make sure you save it in a good spot, probably your H drive. I'll hit save. And bam, I should have that folder now if I minimize everything. And I go to my computer. I'm going to go find my H drive just to confirm because this is the file I'm going to upload. Architecture 2021, Revit Exercise Video 2 demo. Bam, there it is. So I'm going to zoom out here so we can see our glorious efforts. And I didn't update all that stuff on the bottom, but this is what you can turn in here. So I hope that this helps. Please go back through and take a look at this video as you need. But this is how you how you add a roof to something and how you can create a sheet that shows the different elevations of that object that you are creating. All right, and that is all. Just got to turn this off now. Bye, folks.